Okay, folks, I'll call the meeting to order. But before we start, I have a treat for you. Okay, down to business. Would you all rise and join us in the singing of O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
We'll now have a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Before we do the adoption of the agenda, I need a motion that Section 10.022 of Bylaw 2020-001, being the bylaw to govern and regulate the proceedings of council, be waived to permit the addition of item 8.2 to the agenda for today's meeting, being a deputation by Doug Hallowell regarding concerns about the increased dock licensing fees within the proposed amendments to the consolidated fees bylaw, item 12.1.3 on the agenda. I have a mover and seconder. Councillor Ashmore, seconder. Councillor Smeaton, all in favor? And that's passed. I have an adoption of the open session agenda. Councillor McDonald.
Yeah, moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Richardson, that the agenda for the open session of the regular council meeting of Tuesday, December 12, 2023 be adopted as circulated with the following amendments. Item 8.1 being a deputation by Doug Ford regarding a Village of Bob Cajun zoning bylaw amendment vacant land on Duke Street relating to item 11.3.1 on the agenda. Item 8.2, being a deputation of Doug Hellwell regarding concerns about the increased dock licensing fees within proposed in the amendments of the consolidated fees bylaw relating to item 12.1.3 on the agenda. And item 11.3.2, being the recommendation from the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of November 29th, 2023, relating to report Plan 2023-064.
Thank you. Did you have a seconder for that?
Deputy Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's passed. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on anything on today's agenda? Seeing none, should any arise during the course of the meeting, advise the chair will deal with it accordingly. Notices and information by members of council and staff. Councillor McDonald.
Yeah, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all the organizations and all the volunteers that work so hard all year, but especially around this time of year. You don't have to go too far to see full barrels of toys, food, free turkey dinners offered, and numerous other items. What a great place we live in that we call home. So to you, Mr. Mayor and Deputy Mayor, all councillors and staff in the City of Kawartha Lakes, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and please stay safe.
Thank you. Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a really enjoyable Christmas season in Kawartha Lakes. Mingle and Jingle and Festival of Trees and Bobcaygeon was incredible with just record amounts of people attending. So that was a great day. Christmas at Ken Reed was also quite amazing. I've never seen so many people at Ken Reed. I didn't think I would get there in time because the traffic was backed up right to the highway, which was just incredible. So I want to thank all the volunteers of all those events for all the great work they do. And also I want to say that the tree lighting in Kinmount was a wonderful event too. It was so beautiful. It's a huge tree that has it's been there for 20 some odd years after they used to bring a tree in every year, but they decided, well, hey, that's not very environmentally friendly. We're going to plant one. So I think it's about 20 years old and it's huge. And that was a lot of fun being that. And to top it all off was the 75th anniversary of the Bobcaygeon Santa Claus Parade. And again, the numbers of people, I haven't seen people like that come out for a parade, even in the summertime. So it was quite something. So the Christmas, also I want to, I forgot to congratulate all the Osprey winners, but especially the Sheila Boyd Foundation and the Boyd Museum for their award. So the Christmas spirit is certainly alive and well in our community. I want to wish everyone a safe, enjoyable holiday season and a very, very happy and healthy new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, and I will agree. It's so exciting to see the festive fun in all our communities. It's staggering just to see the numbers. I just want to make a few announcements that are coming up. Bethany Santa breakfast is this Saturday, December 16th from 8 till 10:30 at the Bethany United Church. The Manver Swans will be following up there with their festival trees and wreath raffle. You can purchase in person or online. It's incredible. They've been at every Santa breakfast in the community, and they're adding a little bit of sparkle to all these events. Janaville Community Center has a paint night this Saturday, December 16th at 7, And the members' fire halls, Bethany and Janettville had their local food drives and toy drives this past weekend. The Pontypool Fire Hall will be doing their Santa run this upcoming Sunday, 17th, starting at 3:30. It's really important that we continue to support those food banks because there's a lot of pressures out there for some of our families in the city of Kawartha Lakes, and we all can help each other by pitching in. And again, I also want to wish everyone a very safe and happy holiday season.
Thank you. Councillor Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. On November 30th, I attended an open house at the Woodville Medical Center, and I'm very happy to announce that nurse practitioner Sarah Holroyd is now practicing in the medical center 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you're in the Woodville catchment area, they are still taking in, as of November 30th, I can't guarantee as of today, but back then they were still taking in applications for patients. Phone number is 439-2411. Ask for Laura Ray, and she'll be happy to set you up. And if you've missed any of the Santa Claus parades in the region, we have one more also in Woodville coming up Saturday, December 16th at 6:30. So get your jingle on and come to Woodville to enjoy a Santa Claus parade. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smeaton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, another chorus of many, many things that have happened in Ward 5, so I've just selected a few. But happy holidays to everybody, and just a consideration for women's resources. Was someone that we were at the Armory this weekend for the craft sale, and they have a draw, and that's a great cause that to keep in mind as you're going through your shopping. Just keep an eye open for all these different people that are out there, as Councillor McDonald said, and many others. I'll be at Loblaws tomorrow from 5 till 7. If anybody wants to come and tell me what's on their mind, I'll be helping the Salvation Army, and that's another cause that's always nice this time of year to think about if you have some spare change. Thanks to the Filipino community, which is really growing here in Lindsay, and it's active and exciting and festive, and thanks to Ramesh for their celebration at the Ramada recently. Speaking to the RTO tomorrow, the retired teachers, they have a lot of questions that have come up and a lot of happy comments about the Transit Master Plan. A lot of people went to the PIC, so I'd like to thank Supervisor Kelly, Director Rojas, Manager Farquhar, and the team. It was excellent learning for me. It gives me some more confidence to speak to these groups as they ask questions, so people are really interested, and we're very impressed at that session. And last but not least, a special happy birthday to my friend John Hunter, who's just turned 90, and an upcoming 98th in Ward 5 to Margaret Lindsay. So I look forward in 2 years sitting here congratulating her on her 100th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So RTO isn't regional tourist. Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few announcements. This coming Sunday, December 17th, Santa Day will be at the Dunsford Community Center from 1 to 4 p.m. and that's always a great event for the Dunsford community. That's this coming Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Dunsford Community Center. And this past Saturday evening, I did attend the Bob Cajun Santa Claus Parade, which was great. Certainly amazing turnout. I was with the Queen of the Furl, Mel Karpenko of the International Plowing Match, and also the float was attendance was former Councillor Pat O'Reilly and Bob Armstrong, our chair for the International Plowing Match and World Expo. And at this time of the year, there are many families in need. I'd like to point out a couple of families in the community that are certainly in need. Teresa and Mark Schwager in Thurstonia, who are both battling major health issues, and there is fundraisers set up for that couple, as well as Tim Pendleton, Tim Pendleton, P-E-N-E-L-T-O-N. Tim has entered into intensive care. He's a young man, 35, with a young family and on life support. However, he is showing signs of improvement, which is great as of yesterday. And if you ever want to look up any fundraising methods for him, look under Katrina Pendleton, P-E-N-E-L-T-O-N. I just wanted to thank all those who helped me make this tremendous success. I hosted 2 town halls, one in Omemee on the 22nd of November, and the other one was just this past week in Dunsford on December 6th. And the total public participation, both in person and viewership, was 1,435 people. So it was a great turnout, and thank everybody for coming out. And it's finally like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, all eyes continue to be on Ward 3. And since our last council meeting, we had the iconic Santa Day in Fenelon Falls. If hot chocolates poured is any indication, 600 hot chocolates had been served by Highlands Propane rather, by 3:30 p.m. before the parade even started. It was a great time by all, as usual, our signature Christmas event, and big thanks to all the volunteers and the committee and businesses all working together to make that happen. On Sunday, I was pleased to participate in the food drive in Southview Estates in Cameron, complete with Santa on a Harley and several decorated SUVs. Went door to door and collected over 550 kilograms of food. So generously donated. To put that in scale, that is the weight of a grand piano or apparently a baby whale. So the generosity certainly is, the Christmas spirit certainly is alive and well in Southview Estates in Cameron. And last but not least, those in need of a wonderful Christmas dinner on the 25th can certainly attend the Legion in Fenelon Falls, their annual event. Feeding Fenelon is also offering food, so no one will need to go hungry on Christmas Day. So from Gabe and Abigail and myself, Merry Christmas to everyone, and please enjoy your seasons. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, with all the food around, I certainly hope not to achieve the 550 kilograms. Councillor Yeo.
We could say it was the weight of one mayor. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you. Since we last met, we had the Coboconk Santa Claus Parade, which, despite the weather, was perhaps the biggest turnout I've seen there. It was just wonderful to see the kids lined up in the street, not to mention the probably 100 kids that were actually in the parade themselves. So just a wonderful rainy day for a parade, but a good time had by all. And I just say Merry Christmas to everybody out there. And please give, whether it's buying a bag of groceries for the food bank at the grocery store, or it's supporting the kettle at the Salvation Army. Just 2 words, please give. Thank you.
Thank you. And just in closing, I would like to say that during the Christmas season, yes, give generously if you can, but also give of your time. If you have a neighbor or somebody you know living alone, check in on them once in a while. Make sure they're doing okay. Take 5 or 10 minutes to have a conversation with them. Let's be kind during this time. Yes, it's good to give, but giving of ourselves and being kind and being thoughtful to others, I think, is probably a bigger gift than giving a toy to a child. But those are important too, and let's make sure that every child has something to open on Christmas morning. And to all the citizens of Kawartha Lakes, to council and their family, to our staff and their families, the merriest of Christmas, the safest. Be well, be happy, and let's go to a prosperous new year. Thank you. Are there any notices and motions from, or notices and other from staff? Chief.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, on Friday I had the honor, incredible honor, for one of our firefighters received his 60-year medal on Friday night. John Bailey from Station 22 out of Fenelon. So that's just an incredible number or whatever. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from staff? Sarah?
Well, not 60 years. We have 2 staff that are celebrating a really impressive milestone. 2 Kawartha Lakes paramedics will be traveling to Queen's Park tomorrow to receive the Governor General Exemplary Service Medal 30-year bar. So we want to congratulate Mark Oliver and Greg Murphy. They're are not very many paramedics that are able to meet this level of distinction throughout their career. It's not just a years of service. It is really showing and demonstrating that you've contributed in a positive way to the profession. So we want to congratulate Mark and Greg, but also extend our deepest gratitude to over 30 years of public service to the community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Warren?
I forgot to say that this is Richard Hawley's last meeting here, so I wanted to also recognize him.
Yes, but you stole my thunder. Anybody else, staff? CAO? No? Okay. Moving on. Item 5, we have a report from Deputy Mayor Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So indulge me while I recap the last year for you folks. First off, I want to thank the Mayor and Council for your support this past year. Our 2023 has been a whirlwind year, but as a team, we've accomplished a lot. We have constant federal and provincial changes. We needed to educate ourselves, but we found reasonable solutions and we're moving forward, which is fantastic. It's been a wonderful year getting to know my new counselors. A highlight for me was our boys and girls team building competition. And I have to say, we have some serious talent sitting around here in the percussion department. So I'd like to see that revisited again. Hear, hear. Also, I want to give a very special thank you to the mayor. He has been tremendous to work with the last year. You've given me the opportunity to grow and chair meetings, pitch in when I needed to, and I really do appreciate that support. And by the way, the big chair does have a very nice view. Staff have been incredible to work with in all departments. We've had to pivot, and staff, you know, supporting us as counselors and counselors supporting staff is key, and we do get things done when we work together. I also want to take the time to thank my residents of Ward 8, as I found myself working alongside many to address needs, wants, and the challenges. But it was also nice going into my second term to be able to see some of those projects from the last term to come to fruition. Of course, our number one thing is roads, 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 as Councillor Perry would say. The community hall upgrades, the arenas, and the parks, which is building, you know, nice lifestyles for our community members. Being the deputy mayor also afforded me the opportunity to meet tons of folks across the whole municipality. The last year of the previous council, I had the privilege to be the deputy mayor, and that year for me was recognizing our staff. Our staff had to work hard, they had to pivot, they had to come out of that pandemic, and there was a lot of pressure, and I do want to recognize the value of our staff. And, you know, I'm also very engaged in investing into our staff, because as we grow, we need to have that staff complement put into place, because they're prudent for us to invest, because they make Kawartha Lake shine. So thank you to all the staff members for that. After serving 30 years in the local media and industry and customer service, the value of communication is definitely ingrained in me. Each term, the deputy mayor picks their focus, and together with the mayor, the CAO, communications, and the customer service divisions, I set out to achieve 3 goals, and it was the Did You Know campaign. Apparently it doesn't like me. Oh, there we go. Whoop. That project ran from July to August, and it consisted of 3 elements for me: to educate, engage, listen, and learn. I was thrilled with the level of engagement, hearing from many folks regarding the value of the videos that we did produce, the input, information to improve how we roll out our customer experience, plus really getting to know what people wanted to hear and see. And it was it was encouraging when you were actually getting folks reaching out saying to you, I would like to see you do a video like this. So that was incredible. That showed me that people were engaged. Also, on a side note is the engagement had me out chatting, you know, in the Fenland Falls to the Seniors Club, at various customer service hubs, and even sweating it out on the pickleball court. So I did enjoy meeting and chatting with a lot of folks across the city. With the change in our local communications through newspapers and online platforms, it's more important than ever to invest in those changes. The key message for me is we are transparent. We have a lot of information to share. We just need to engage and show our residents how to access it. The Kawartha Lakes website is our media hub, and we need to help other residents learn how they can jump in and engage and become better informed. I think that's very prudent as we move forward, especially with the growth that's coming. You turn it. One of the consistent messages from our respondents was through the survey. They did prefer receiving customer service in person, online, or on the phone, depending on the service that they've requested. It's not moving? It's got a big red light. There we go. Most requests are handled to the customer's satisfaction by using our formatted reporting tool. It's the best way for staff to address residents' requests for service improvements or answer questions. And in 2024, the customer experience strategy will be rolling out, which is going to refine how we serve our residents. So I'm looking forward to that in the next term of council as well. I look back at so many initiatives over the past year and I was able to engage, but the one that hits home for me was our Missing Children's app that we launched. We were the first municipality in Ontario to adopt and roll this out. With the helps of media and our emergency services, especially our Kawartha Lakes Police Services and the OPP, we've launched a very strong media push and we will continue to push that message out. We actually had a very successful outcome in just September, this past September. We had 2 sub-area teenagers who reported a scene in Lindsay by our Lindsay resident as she saw the alert on her app and notified the police. And those 2 teenagers were returned home, successfully. So that just shows you the importance of this app. And I do clearly want to tell folks that if you haven't got it downloaded, please download it today. Hold on here. So like I said, it's hard to wrap up a full year because it's been an incredible year when you actually step back and look at how much you've accomplished together, as a council and so many different venues and so many different things that we were tackling. But when I stop and I really actually take a step back, I want to acknowledge that some days aren't easy because some people are not as respectful as they used to be. And that's hard to manage sometimes. Sometimes people need to be reminded that we're people too. And I want to thank my family as they've been with me every step of the way. And sometimes this career path is not easy for me or for them. And I want to thank them for being my constant supporting Brickstones because I couldn't do it without them. Mr. Mayor, councillors, 1 year down, 3 to go. I look forward to the next 3 whirlwind years. We have been challenged with impending growth, but we're positioning ourselves to represent the Kawartha Lakes and stay out in front and help our residents grow with us. Thank you, best, warmest regards, and happy holiday season to all, and all good night.
Thank you. Well done. I'm now going to turn the meeting over to the clerk, who will do the election of the new deputy mayor.
Good afternoon. The following election will be for deputy mayor for the next 12-month period. I will call now for nominations for deputy mayor. Councillor Smeaton.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk, through the mayor. I'd like to nominate Councillor MacDonald.
And a seconder? Deputy Mayor Richardson. And will you accept the nomination, Councillor MacDonald?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And I will ask Councillor Smeaton to speak on his nomination.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Through you, Mr. Mayor. It's easy for me to speak. One thing about Councillor MacDonald is he's interested in many key priority issues that have come around this table: poverty, homelessness, opioid crisis, things like parking, development, people services constituents, transit, trails, safety. I've been able to watch him often and work with him, and one of my favorite reasons I'm recommending him for this position is he's a true team player. He understands that teams get things done. I've seen him help anyone in any ward. He has no interest in Ward 7 thinking that he's getting things done. He takes his oath to the city as his priority very seriously. He supports staff, but he isn't shy with difficult questions. You will see him challenge directors at times, and you will also see him supporting those that are easy targets, like our excellent snowplow service or our tireless human services department that do such remarkable work. So I'd finish by saying people like Charlie to be in authority. He's confident, he's not verbose, and he's well-schooled before he makes decisions. He's following an exceptional workhorse, and he will also have a reputation of excellence a year from now, I'm sure. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Richardson, would you like to speak on your nominee?
I will, thank you, and I echo the same sentiments as Councillor Smeaton. Councillor McDonald this past year has listened, he's asked questions, he's learned. He took the chair position on the short-term rental task force, which was a very compressed deadline, and he did an exceptional job. He kept us focused, and he kept us moving forward through the process, so we came to a very good, reasonable solution at the end. I also want to recognize Councillor McDonald as we roll out this year, because the International Ploughing Match is coming to his ward and to the city. Councillor McDonald was instrumental running our Terry Fox run for over 30 years in this area. He's been on numerous boards and committees, and so has his family. This is a very family-oriented councillor. He's committed. This is his lifestyle. I have absolutely enjoyed working with him this past year, and you know, it's also important that we need to embrace and recognize the inclusion of all people, all walks of life in our city, and Councillor McDonald is very cognizant of that and does a very good job of recognizing all. So for me, he's hardworking, he has great leadership, and he's very, very respectful, so he has my support.
Councillor McDonald, would you like to address council?
I don't think I can better than what I just heard. They seem to know me better than I know myself, but just to start off with, as most of you know, I've been a lifelong resident of the Kawartha Lakes, and I've been involved in many activities and raising my family here. I've played sports, and like Deputy Mayor said, I ran the Terry Fox Run for 30 years, where in 2012 I was awarded the Lifetime Community Volunteer Service Award from the Lindsay District Sports Hall of Fame. I own my own business in town. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce and so on, like they all said, but I'm very compassionate in the place that I live and work, and I really want the best for the community. Thanks.
Thank you. So this is a second call for nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor. This is the final call for nominations for Deputy Mayor. We'll have a motion to close the nominations for Deputy Mayor. Councillor Warren and Councillor Perry. All those in favor? So I declare an acclamation, and we'll turn the meeting back over to Mayor Elsley.
Thank you, and thank you, Deputy Mayor McDonald. I look forward to working with you over the next year. I think Brian's standing there, and he'd like to take a picture. So we're now at item 6.7, and Deputy Mayor McDonald looking for some introductory remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank Councillor Smeaton for the nomination, as well as Deputy Mayor Richardson for the motion. Councillor Richardson, I'll let you know in a year whether I feel the same way. I appreciate your support, and I know that I'm only in my second year, and I definitely have learned a lot, and I understand that I still have lots to learn. And I definitely have a hard act to follow, replacing Councillor Richardson. I have to say that I've known the Deputy Mayor Richardson for a long time, and we've known how hard she has worked and the compassion that she has for our community. She has guided me and other members of this council, and I think she gets off really easy, just to let you know. She's not going to get off easy, because we will still be counting on her to guide us through for the next couple of years, so thank you. My ambition for the next year, and I've got a few items I'd like to talk about, and I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to continue serving as a champion for the rollout of the city short-term rental license program. I was fortunate enough to be chair with three of my colleagues and staff in a very compressed timeline to set rules and regulations, which was passed by council. This will be in full swing in January 2024. Short-term rentals are an important actor of visitors staying and spending in our community, but we need to ensure renters respect their neighbors and are either year-round residents or seasonal, which is very important, I think, for everybody in this table. And it was mentioned before also, in 2024, the plowing match is coming next October at the Lindsay Fairground, which happens to be in my ward. This is a great opportunity for all of us to support and promote our downtowns. A lot of work has been done on the revitalization and the beautification efforts. Let's show off the city of Kawartha Lakes and everything we have to offer, not only for tourism destination, but for employment and business opportunities. And my third one is our outgoing Deputy Mayor Richardson has worked with staff to educate and update customer experience and how residents utilize and receive our services. And her focus was, did you know, which she showed you before. What a great job, what a great accomplishment, and she needs a lot of kudos for that. And I think it's important we continue this focus and build this momentum. Thank you, and thank the staff for all your hard work, Tracy.
Thank you. We're on a roll here. Okay, item 7. Can I have a motion that the minutes of the November 21st, 2023 regular council meeting, the November 28th, 2023 special council meeting, and the December 5th, 2023 special council meeting be received and adopted? Councillor Richardson, seconder. Councillor Smeaton. All in favor? And that's passed. Now move on to item 8, which is deputations. Our first deputation speaks to the Village of Bobcaygeon zoning bylaw amendment, Mr. Doug Ford. Mr. Ford, you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for letting me speak today. As you all know, I've brought up some of my own concerns regarding the bylaw amendment for the proposed property on Duke Street in Bobcaygeon. The proposal is for it being switched from a restricted industrial lot to R4 multi-residential. I border the said property on 2 sides, to the north and to the east, and it first came to my attention that there was intention to develop this property last year. Marketplace Holdings had a public meeting, of which many people in the community attended, where they put forth a proposal of a 15-unit townhouse complex to be built primarily for affordable housing geared to income residents. At the time, I didn't object to that. It seemed to be something that would fit into our community. However, when the notice was posted for the actual bylaw amendments, I noticed that the proposal had gone from a 15-unit townhouse complex to a 22-unit apartment building. One of the things that was changed in the dynamic of that scenario is parking. The application currently, as it sits, there's a proposal to reduce the standard parking for 44 units for a complex of that size down to 22. My issue with that is my property that is next door isn't developed, and I feel that because of the lack of proper parking that's going to be allotted, that parking is going to fall to me, where people are going to be parking on my property because there's nowhere else for them to park. I believe a traffic study was done. However, Duke Street, for those of you who may not know, is the main artery between Bobcaygeon and Fenelon Falls. It turns into County Road 8. It's a 2-lane county road with gravel shoulders and ditches. There is no real place for people to park along the side of the road safely for the volume of traffic that goes up and down that road every day at all hours. The second issue that I had was pedestrian traffic. Because I also border this property to the north of that is Tommy Anderson Park. Tommy Anderson Park's obviously a big attraction to people in the neighborhood. It's a place where people would want to go. The shortest way to get to that property is through my property. There was never any consultation with me to discuss how we might avert the possibility of all that traffic, people coming through my property to get to the park entrance. I brought it up last time when I was here. I still haven't heard back from Marketplace with any potential solutions regarding that. The other issue that has come up, not just for myself, but some of the other members in the community, mostly on Jane Street, they weren't aware that there was a switch from 15 townhouse units to 22. And some of them have concerns too regarding the traffic that may flow down Jane Street in an attempt to get to this development. As it stands right now, I don't know why, but there's this, in the summertime, I get a lot of traffic coming down Jane Street into my property because of misguided apps, the GPS apps, where people are looking to get to Fenelon Falls and they turn them down Jane Street 1 block before Duke, which would be the artery to go to Fenelon Falls. That would, I believe, compound my traffic problem, because not only do I have that issue in the summer, but I would have issues with people trying to get to whatever this address is going to be when they punch it into their GPS. Depending on where they're coming from, they're going to come down Jane Street trying to get to this building. I know that there's a need for housing, especially, affordable housing in the area. And, being Christmas, I sound like the Grinch coming here asking you not to approve this project in its current state. I'm not against progress, or I'm not against even development of this property in its original, the way it was originally presented. I just have a problem with the way it's being presented right now and the issues that I feel will affect me. I hope staff and you take that into consideration and possibly suggest to Marketplace that they consider their original proposal. And I look forward to possibly looking at this again in the future. Thank you for your time.
If you'd like to stay there for a few minutes, please. Maybe questions from council?
Sure.
And I want to congratulate you on being bang on 5 minutes. So thank you for that. Are there questions for the deputant? Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for coming again. So just to be clear, if the developer of the affordable housing and council and the planning committee went to the original idea, you would be on board?
Yes.
Okay, I just
Yes,
wanted
absolutely.
that clear. Okay, thank you.
And you know that right now, the motion is that this be sent back to staff to answer questions and to further consult, so that no decision is being made to move forward with this today.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Our next deputant, can I have a motion to receive that deputation? Councillor Richardson, seconder, Councillor Smeaton. All in favor? And that's done. Our next deputant is 8.2 on the agenda is Mr. Doug Hallowell, and it's relating to the fees bylaw and docking fees in Thurstonia. Mr. Hallowell, you have 5 minutes.
If I could have a moment before you start my timer.
Okay.
I'd just like to say I've had some medical issues, so I couldn't make it in to file my deputation. And Mayor Elmsley was gracious enough to allow me here today. Down in my area, I'm the guy they call the mayor. And my ear is in Snug Harbor, Pleasance Point, Cedar Glen, and so on. People come to me all the time about these issues, so I'm here. And hopefully the next time my name comes up, it'll be the mayor's daughter. So I'll begin now.
Well, we're both named Doug, so.
Yeah. Very good, Doug. But thank you again for allowing me to do this. Okay, so
Please
down
do.
at Thurstonia Park, years ago, over 30 years ago, I was head of the dock committee down there. While I was head of the dock committee, we were charged by the foot, $1 a foot. It was held by the police village. We collected all the checks. The amounts were totaled up. The money was sent into the town. The town took the money and allocated it where they saw fit. We were fine with that. I will stress upon every council member here, we do not receive any essential services whatsoever in Thurstonia Park from the road's edge to the water's edge. We maintain it, we supply it, we put in our own docks, we take care of all of our own maintenance. It was pointed out to me by the clerk's office that this increase in payments goes out to, not just to us, but to parks and everything else. And I said to him, that's fantastic that they repair the benches and they paint them, they do the gardens, and I love seeing the ice rink in the park. But not once has anyone ever showed up at my dock with a hammer. So with that said, when we first started the amendment fee for the dock spaces, it was to be $125 a year. That $125 has now jumped to $139 in less than 5 years. That's $14.10 increase for the government, well, for this office here, this building here, to receive our checks and allocate them wherever they please, which we're completely fine with, but the increases were not supposed to take place. We were told, because we were going from $1 a spot to $150 for our booth and an extra $125 to register everything, that we would have a freeze on that moratorium. There would be a moratorium on the cost until several years later. It's been a short 5 years. We've gone up $14.10. Now I've heard through the grapevine that there is no contract between Kawartha Lakes and the Trent Severn system, and there is no contract with conservation as well. So now there's no contract in place, and people have come in to try to pay for their docks. Some people have paid for it because they had to go out of town. The price is going from $150 to $155. What are we going to do? Send out a bill to those people who are in Florida for $5? Or are we adding $60 to their bill next year because they have no concept of that whatsoever? The $5 is not justified. Again, we don't receive any essential services. We look after everything ourselves. We supply our own insurance. We supply our own gates, our own docks, everything like that. On the dock spaces that have been lost in Thurstonia Park due to an increase in the price and the people who gave up their docks, we were told by Trent Severn System. Incidentally, Trent Severn System, back when it was $1 a foot, got paid $150 by the town for the full leasing of all of Thurstonia Park. That full leasing of Thurstonia Park now is only $450. So if we count up the $30,000 that's coming from just from the amend fee, not counting the $150 a year from each resident, Ron Ashmore would know better than I do. I think there's almost 230 people have docks down at Thurstonia Park. But we've been told by Trent Severn System and by the KL that the dock spaces themselves that have been abandoned or couldn't be paid for, that it didn't matter how tall the grass got, doesn't matter how far the trees go, we will not change it. If I gave up my dock tomorrow, the grass could go 10 feet tall. I've been told by this administration that it doesn't matter. So the people in Thurstonia Park who have docks clean to the left and the right side of them. There's another issue. There are people down at Thurstonia Park who have not been allocated a dock, and there are spots. Beside me to the next person, there are 24 feet. That's two 12-foot spots. Normally the docks are 12 feet. But even if there was a 20-foot spot, there are people who are quite gracious to have a spot that's 10 feet. The revenue that would come from that with a boat license, with fishing licenses and docking, their dock permits and that sort of thing, there's plenty of money coming in. And our money that comes out of the area of our docks doesn't go. We've never been able to be told where it goes. I'm quite sure it goes into some kind of a tax or is allocated someplace, but we were told there'd be a moratorium on the price. And today I'm asking that this $150 fee stay the same, there be a moratorium put on it, and this $5 increase is unjustified, really unjustified. And if I hadn't have found out by accident, and the city of Kawartha Lakes had got the contracts with Trent Severn System and with the ministry, then the new contracts for all of the people for their dock spaces would have went out. Incidentally, there has been people who have paid for their dock spaces already. They're going to be hit with a $5 bill. I don't know how you're going to explain that with postage and administration and everything like that. Thank you very much for your time. Merry Christmas to you all and everyone in this building.
Thank you. Just stay there for a couple of minutes in case there are
I've been here a couple of times.
Yeah, I know.
I'll stay.
Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through our Deputy Doug. Thanks for coming, and I've been working with your family for a few years, and you were instrumental in educating me about this docking system and the flaws that came with it. It was something that was brought in through a term of council before the last council, and actually just recently, within 2 years ago, we were in a position where we almost lost about 60% of the docking spaces, which would have been just a sheer travesty. But anyways, council didn't allow that to happen. Now the $5 increase, to some $5 may be nothing, it may be insignificant. Well, to me and to Mr. Hallowell and to people in Thurstonia, it means something. It's not so much the $5 increase, it's the administration that goes behind it. And as far as what we've done, and I'm going to bring this forward. Hopefully the mayor and I will go down there someday and have a look at the shoreline. I know that they've divided it into about 20 different parkettes, so there's like 20 empty spaces, and there is a list. I have a list of people who are anxiously waiting, who live in Thurstonia and would love to have a dock to use and to lease. And they have a right, they should be able to get that. But we're working on that, on these allocated spots. So when this comes to the section of the council report here on the proposed amendments, I'll be talking about that. I've extracted that. So I just wanted to thank you there, Doug.
Mr. Ashmore, it's been 6 years we've been waiting for those spots to be allocated.
Yep.
Two neighbors who be right beside me, the 24 feet that's between me and my next neighbor, those people were elderly, couldn't afford their docks, had to give up their dock spaces. Those spaces now are maintained and cleaned by myself and my other neighbor. We clean up the garbage, we cut the grass, we maintain the brick wall, and so on. Those spots, 6 years now, we've been waiting for those spots to be allocated. There is money there without taking $5 from us. There's money in those spots. There's an administration fee of $139. There was a $14.10 increase. And there's the administration of the fees, the yearly fee of $150 for everyone's dock space. Right off the bat, there's your $5.
Thank you.
These are difficult times we're in right now, so financially.
Do you have a question or?
Well, just to follow up to what Mr. Hallowell had said, that yeah, like I'm trying. I know it's been frustrating. I am going to bring a memo to council, hopefully in the next month or so, to allocate those extra 20 spaces because people are patiently waiting. But there's so many people that do all this work and they don't get recognition for for what they do to maintain their dock spaces. They do a great job, and I just wanted to thank you for that. And I know that in the last 3 years, like between last week's town hall I had, there's 150 out. We had 200 people come out in 2019, so we've had almost 400 people come out just on this topic alone. Like, it's a contentious issue, and I can assure you I'll be fighting it right to the end. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and have a great holiday. I have a motion to receive the deputation. Councillor Ashmore, Councillor Perry. All in favor? And that's passed. Moving on, we have correspondence. Item 9.1 on the agenda is correspondence regarding the Healthy Environment Plan for the City of Kawartha Lakes, and it's from I.E. Weldon Secondary School. I have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Warren, Councillor Smeaton, all in favor, and that's passed. Thank you. No, you don't get to speak, I'm sorry. No, you cannot have a deputation. You have to put paperwork. You have to put paperwork into the clerk's office. In order to do that, no, you may not speak. Because they arranged beforehand to speak. And I told you that yesterday. No, it doesn't. This is a council meeting. It is not a public meeting. It is a council meeting that is open to the public. Thank you. Sit down, please, and be quiet or leave. Your choice. Thank you. Moving on. Thank you. Goodbye. I have a right, sir, to take you in any public place. No, you do not. If you do not sit down and be quiet or leave, let's take a break, please. We'll take a break for 10 minutes.
Okay, so the timing would be that they could get their docks in before summer then, if all things come to fruition.
Through the mayor, yes, I mean, that's the plan to, so that they can hit the season this year.
Okay, thank you.
Are you going to move the recommendation?
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Ashmore, seconded Councillor Warren. All in favor? And that's passed. Move on to item 12 on the agenda, which is reports. Councillor Perry, I believe you have that. And do you have the extractions?
I certainly do, Mayor. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Warren that all the proposed resolutions shown in section 12.1 of the agenda be approved and adopted by Council in the order that they appear on the agenda and sequentially numbered, save and except for items 12.1.1, 12.1.3, 12.1.7, 12.1.9, 12.1.10, 12.1.12, and 12.1.13.
You had a seconder for that?
I do, Councillor Warren.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's passed. So the first extraction is 12.1.1, Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to, I guess, the clerk, if I could. Just going through this notice bylaw update, and they talk about third-party media. Just wondering, are we going to be, given the fact that we do have another print media that's in the vicinity, in the geographical area, and their weekly circulation is 19,000, are we not going to be advertising in the print media? Of the Deputy Mayor.
I would refer my question to Sherry Davidson, the manager.
Thank you. Through the mayor to the councillor, we do have a number of media options across Kawartha Lakes. Although we no longer have a printed Metroland newspaper, there are several other options, and that's why we wanted to amend the bylaw so that we have the flexibility to choose the right media to reach the right audience and mix of residents over the issue that we're dealing with for every particular notice. So I think it's a good change to the bylaw in that it allows us to work with the media of the day, because there may be new media coming. We know the Standard newspaper has significantly increased their numbers. Just today, I got the update, they're at 11,700 copies throughout Kawartha Lakes, through drop boxes primarily, but also some home delivery. So we're working closely with all of our media partners and choosing the ones that work best for the issue and for the geography that we need to reach each time.
Okay, thanks. Through you, the 19,000 is the figure I got yesterday when I inquired about it. That was weekly and delivery combined. So would we be looking at going back into the paper in the next couple of months, perhaps?
Through the mayor to the councillor, so we do have all of the latest stats from all the various media, and we have a mix of printed ads going out and online ads. We do find social media advertising is very effective for us to reach into specific communities geographically, as well as it's tends to be more economical. So we look at the full landscape each time, and things change quickly. So we stay on top of that media mix and use the best one to reach our residents.
Finally, and Canada Post, I've always found it be a steadfast, reliable deliverer of material. Have we looked into Canada Post, because their rates are pretty decent and they get everywhere? They get to lock boxes, they get everywhere. Is that an option that we could look at as well?
Through the mayor to the councillor, that's absolutely an option. And in fact, our 2024 municipal calendars are being delivered as we speak by Canada Post. So that is I would say the Cadillac option to reach residents, and that you can deliver to every home, every business, every farm. And that's what we've done this December. So that will continue to be an option in that media mix when we look at a paid for message.
Thank you.
Hope that answers your question.
Deputy Clerk Watts, did you wish to add anything?
I would just add that the definition of third-party media is inclusive of all of those options, including Canada Post, other print media, radio, television, social media. It's basically any option that is not a Kawartha Lakes, City of Kawartha Lakes distribution source. So for us to switch to third-party media really allows us to take any number of options that are best suited at the day. So as Sherry said, so Canada Post absolutely included as a third-party media option.
Thank you. Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So third-party media could also, well, it takes in non-print newspapers. So if there was a non-print newspaper in Omemee or Fenelon Falls, then you would target those areas, those non-print newspapers for issues that pertain to those areas. It's a question.
Who's your question
So I'll
to?
respond to that through the mayor, to the councillor. Again, there's many options, and if we're looking at a public notice that is a legislative notice, typical to the ones included in this bylaw, we're looking for those media outlets that reach the largest number of residents in the most frequent time span, so that we could reach out depending on when the notice is coming out and how many times we need to reach the resident. So we do have a good mix of weekly, bi-weekly, monthly publications, online versus printed. And so we're really in a better position than most smaller municipalities that we do have those options, and we do look at those each time we have a notice to get out.
Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and I think that just answered my question. So it's really just changing the language to the third-party advertising, gives us the flexibility to choose the right media at the right time and audience. So thank you.
Councillor Ashmore, did you want to move as printed?
Yes, that's fine. I will.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Joyce. All in favor? And that's passed. Our next extraction is item 1213. It was extracted by Councillor Joyce and Councillor Ashmore. I'll go to Councillor Joyce first.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I just picked up an anomaly here, and it might be just a typo, but if someone can elaborate on section A11, clean and clear subsequent offenses. Last year is fees double. This year it's noted as free, and I think we all have property standard issues in all our wards. I don't think relaxing the penalty is the right way to go. We need to keep it tough.
Thank you. Manager Sloan is on the line. I think he probably can give you an answer. Manager?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor. I'll defer my answer to Linda if she, Manager Liotti, if she wants to add anything further. But in fact, in the review of the document, it is a typing error. Mostly on my part. I think I didn't pick it up on the review, so I'm willing to take that one on the chin.
Manager Liotti, did you want to speak to it?
Duly noted, through you, Mr. Mayor, duly noted, Manager Aaron Sloan. I will make that correction, so we'll circulate it for an amendment.
I just like to comment, I'm going to advise Santa on this. Manager Sloan.
No, that's not fair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Ashmore.
Yeah, I had a follow-up motion, if I could, on this report that
I think what you want to make an amendment to it, don't you?
Yes.
Just hang on and let me discuss with the gurus here how best to do this. So I think what we have to do is we have to do the amended motion first. Your amended motion first and vote on it, then we'll go back to the main motion, okay? So what's your...
Well, my motion was to receive it and to leave the rates at the January 1st, 2023 level.
For all of the rates?
Yeah, for all of them, yep. And I'll speak to it.
And you want to keep them there till when?
For 12 months, for 1 year, that they be the same.
For every rate in there, just to be clear, not just the docking in Thurstonia, but every one that's in that bylaw.
Right now, I would say everything on that bylaw, yep. Mm-hmm.
That's your motion, okay? Let me see if I can get you a seconder. Is there a seconder to that motion that all the rates remain stagnant for the next year? Not seeing one.
That's okay. I'll talk about it when it comes up here.
Well, no, you need to do it now.
Need to do it now. Okay. So, well, we're looking at rates that, and first of all, I want to thank Director Hawley. He got back to me this morning, and we had a good conversation. And I want to thank him for that, and explained to me a lot of the rationale and the reasoning that these numbers were put forward. But I'm having a lot of difficulty increasing, for example, official plan amendments from $4,000 to $15,000. We're looking at huge amounts of increases here. And I don't think that people can afford these. I mean, regardless of your size, whether you're small, medium, or size, they're right here. They're going up huge amounts. And we can't afford this. So I'm proposing that we keep it at the same rate. People
But
are looking,
you didn't get a seconder for that motion. I thought you were going to make another motion in relation to the Thurstonia docks.
Okay.
Which is why I allowed you.
I'll make a motion to that we keep that at the current rate of 2023, please.
See if we can get you a seconder for that. Councillor Warren. Now, did you want to speak to that?
No, thank you to my seconder there. We'll do that one first. I think that's important because that means a lot to people. Even if it's $5, it's something that they want to be informed about. I know the agendas come out the 1 week before, about 6 days before the council meeting, but we did have a speaker here today talk about this and how it does affect their area. So by freezing this $5, I think that would be helpful to the people there.
Thank you. Councillor Warren, do you want to speak to it?
Sure, just briefly. Doug made a good point of the cost of administration to mail, to get back $5. It probably behooves us to waive that. Thank you.
Councillor Smeaton, did you want to speak on this or were you speaking on another end? Okay. No problem. All right. So we move on. Second. Any other questions, comments on keeping the rate the same and not raising it $5? All in favor? And that passes. So the rate for Thurstonia docks will remain the same for the next 12 months. Now, getting back to, I need a mover and a seconder for item 12.1.3, the consolidated fee bylaw. As amended. Deputy Mayor McDonald, Councillor Joyce. All in favor? And that passes.
Just a clarification on the one before that. It wasn't just Thurstonia, but it would be Cedar Glen as well, the rates. Yeah, okay. And I forgot to ask for a recorded vote on this last one, please. I couldn't, but I was going to ask for a recorded vote, if I could, please.
But it's done, and you got the $5 taken off, so.
I wanted to bring up the fact of these increases, and I just wanted to have a vote. I mean, I thought it was applicable to that. I know everybody's humming and hawing, but I think it's important that I have the right to have a recorded vote.
You do if you ask for it in time.
I tried, I had my thing on.
You're allowed to ask for a recorded vote immediately following the vote.
So I think if you want to include Cedar Glen, that would be a separate motion. If you want a recorded vote on the report that was just passed, Corp 2023-023, you can ask for it immediately preceding the motion or after the motion. So if that's the one you were referring to, if you were referring to the Thurstonea, then it's not a recorded vote because we've moved on.
Yeah, no, the Thurstonea one, that's fine. I just want to make sure it captured, it says docks in that list, so Thurstonea is not the only place that has docks. Kenstone has docks, Kenstone Beach, Cedar Glen, so there's actually 3 areas.
So was the intent of all docks or just the Thurstonea?
Well, that's what I'd like to get clarification, because that's what it says, and it says docks, and there's not, Thurstonea is by far the largest place that has docks, but there are other places that have docks, so.
Ms. Liotti, do you want to address this?
Yes, so through you, Mr. Mayor, it's actually a dock licensing fee. So it's the administrative costs for staff to go out and do basically the renewal of the lease. I believe as City Solicitor Carlson online, she may be able to give some more particular information in terms of that, because it is a realty services function. That particular fee would be moving forward. So in the event that leases have already been executed, they were executed at the 2023 fees, and then we would move to the new schedule for anything being executed in 2024. So I will defer to City Solicitor Carlson if she's on the line. Great.
Hello, yes, thank you. Ms. Liotti, that is correct. So we have one fee for any dock renewal, and the renewals that we have done for Thurstonea to date would have been done under 2023 renewal costs. And then since these numbers will stay the same, anything that we process in 2024, which I anticipate will be partially in Thurstonea and then partially outside of that area, will be at the same rate based on the decision today.
Thank you. So what do you want to do?
If it captures it, okay, well, I'm fine with that. Yep.
The way it is?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want to do about your recorded vote?
I'd like to request that, if I could, please, for the...
So you want a recorded vote?
No, not for the docks, for the proposed amendment.
For item 12.1.3, you want a recorded vote as amended?
It should be rescinded.
Yes.
Yeah, for the fees, the proposed fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Smeaton, you have your light on. I don't.
Can I just ask you a question?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just through you, I just want to make one thing clear for people very quickly, that I enjoyed that deputation very much. And if this fails, it's because of an impromptu jump. There is every opportunity to wait a month. There's every opportunity for the councillor to bring forward a memo saying they would like to amend this. The reason I voted against that is not because, in fact, my gut's telling me the $5 is wrong. But I think that realty services, and for that matter, all of these on-the-fly motions that keep happening, deserve to go back to staff for them to tell us why. It's just that simple. Sherry Dyer isn't even here to tell us why the $5 are going up, and I think she deserves that chance. I personally happen to think with my gut, I don't get it either. But if we're not going to go back to staff and we're just going to always say, I think this is the case, we're in trouble. There's no hurdle here. There's no, it's winter. We could wait a month and we could find out why. Then I can make an educated decision as to how I feel. There are a lot of items in here that I took about 3 hours this week, frankly, calling directors and finding out, Manager Liotti, Director Hawley, a lot of things that educated me, that my gut told me differently, and I found out things from contacting staff. So if we want to record votes, great. But I want the constituency to know that I've made phone calls. Go ahead, record the vote, because I'm confident in most of these increases, and frankly, so are the developers. So don't get fooled. This is not a surprise to any small developer, any medium developer, or any big developer. They are fully aware that these cost differences are taking place. This is not a magic show where today it appeared. Just for the record. Thanks.
Thank you. Right now, the only thing we've amended is the Thurstonia docks we're not raising the fees there by $5. That's all we've done so far.
So I would recommend you rescind that recommendation, because what is being asked is to...
No, he's fine with it.
But do you...
Okay, here, what? Councillor Oren.
So it's all docks, it's not just Thurstonia
No,
docks?
just Thurstonia is not going up $5.
So all
Every other dock is going up $5.
That's not what I understood, so, sorry.
To be fair, it should be all docks because Thurstonia...
That's not the motion you made. You made the
No.
motion to...
I wanted to correct that because to capture it, that it wasn't just Thurstonia, there's Theatre Glen, there's
Okay,
Kenny
we
Lee
need a
Show.
2/3 motion to rescind that. So the motion is to rescind the motion to absolve Thurstonia from the $5 fee. All in favor? I need a mover and seconder. So I assume you're moving it. Seconder, you're the seconder. All in favor? I need 2/3. I don't have 2/3. So that's not rescinded. So right now, only Thurstonia, and the rest of them are going up $5. Now, we'll come to a recorded vote for item 12.13 as amended.
Councillor Smeaton.
Good answer.
Sorry, just a point of order, if I could, Mayor, just for clarity. Could you repeat the motion that's on the floor? There's been some back and forth here.
The motion that you're voting on, and a recorded vote, is that report corporate 2023-023, 2024 proposed amendments to bylaw 2018-234 consolidated fees bylaw be received. That the recommended fees and charges amendments provided in Appendix A to Report Corp. 2023-023 be approved, and that the necessary amending bylaw be brought forward to Council for adoption, save and accept the Thurstonia docking. We're now voting.
Councillor Smeaton.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor McDonald.
In favor.
Councillor Perry.
In favor.
Councillor Yeo.
Opposed.
Councillor Richardson.
In favor.
Councillor Ashmore.
Opposed?
Councillor Warren.
In favor.
Councillor Joyce.
In favor.
Mayor Elmsley.
In favor. Moving on. Item 12.1.7, facility use and disposition. Councillor Warren.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple questions for the director. First of all, so once the building is declared surplus, Director Shanks, could you tell us what the next steps are?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to council. So basically, the first step in determining the future of the facility, once it's been deemed that it's no longer required for municipal use, is to declare it surplus. After that, then we can have discussions about what the future of that would be. There's any number of potential options, and as the report indicates, the option that we would follow up here once we declare it surplus is to have those discussions with the Boyd Foundation about the transition of the transfer of the complete ownership of the facility over to the foundation for their purposes.
Thank you, through you. So I'll move the recommendation, and I will speak to it if I get a seconder.
The bylaw that has to be extracted for the fees.
I have to do that now.
Leah.
Are you moving that?
So I'm moving it. If I get a seconder, I'll speak to it. Thank you.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Perry.
Thank you. The Sheila Boyd Foundation has been an integral part of Bob Cajun, and I'd like to see a further report, an updated agreement that will protect the property and archives if the foundation ceases to exist. And there is, that agreement is standing now. So going forward, I'm hopefully that will be in any new agreement going forward. Thank you.
That would sum up. Thank you. All in favor? And that passes. Our next extraction is 1219, the Omemee splash pad. Councillor Ashmore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Director of Community Services. So we've done, the engineering firm did this study, and looking at it here, did they ever look at, as a water source, the mill pond, which is basically a small lake? I've done the calculation how much length times width times depth. It's about a little over 400 million gallons of water in that pond alone. And it's a spring-fed pond. Was that ever an option that they looked at? And yeah, I'll go for that first if I could.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, yes, that's I believe what they're referring to in this draft report. And again, it is right now just a draft report, so it's going to have some further amendments, additions to it to clarify. But when they refer to the Pigeon River, they're actually referring to the pond and that entire body of water. So yes, that is one of the items that they've looked at and is one of the recommendations that I'm sure they would be making forward as the two alternatives.
Okay, and public meetings, when would the first public meeting be, if you could roughly, an idea, please?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the council member, we are intending to have a public information session. The report, I believe, indicates Q1 of 2024. In all likelihood, we'd probably be looking at during the month of February, and that would be to bring that, take it to the public information session, make sure they're aware, and then bring back a follow-up report to council so they can make a determination moving forward if it's a project they support, so it could be included in a potential future capital budget.
Okay, thanks. And just the final question is the costing. Have they, I noticed in the consultations, they didn't contact any contractors or get an idea. Like I just find this over $1 million seems to be quite high for a splash park. And also the population, they say population 1,300. Well, the population of Omemee is 1,500, the Omemee proper itself, plus the surrounding area of Downeyville, Rayboro, Shallore Park, Cowans Bay, Bethany in the south, and not to mention everything to the east, you're looking at about 5,000 people. I'm just wondering why they didn't really encapsulate the whole area as far as the population, because it does draw upon a big population, not just the village of Omemee. would they take into that consideration if they, I'm sure we'll look at that at the public meetings, but I just think that needs to be pointed out that it's more than just the village of Omemee itself that this facility would serve. But just the one question was the costing. Will we be looking at costing in the next couple of months on the project, please?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor again. Yes, as this is a draft report, that's one of the final items that they're putting in place so that when we go to the public information session, it'll be a more specific cost. It is a high price, again, as mentioned within the report and has been talked about previously, because the water supply from a municipal standpoint isn't there. So there will need to be a recirculatory system or a pumping system, a holding tank, any number of things. That's why the cost will be high. But yes, the public information session would include what that is, and we can certainly take it to the engineer to ensure that the broader area population is included in that final report. Again, this is draft right now, but we'll make sure that we have those discussions, and I'm sure that those numbers would be able to be included in both the engineer's report and certainly in the staff report when we bring that forward.
Thank you.
You moving the motion to receive? Councillor Smeaton, did you want to?
Just a quick clarification for Director Shanks. And it seemed like a paradox, and I'm sure it's not. Last year, we agreed that this would be funded through community fundraising, and that's in the blurb, but it also says if supported, staff will include in the 2025 capital budget for development and installation. So which is it? And I understand as it comes out of my mouth that it's a dumb question, and as you know, I'm okay with silly questions. So I'm seeing two things here. Is it going in the capital budget, or is it funded through community fundraising?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, my recollection of the various discussions is the same. It's been suggested that the project itself would be 100% community funded. That being said, there is no, at this time, there's no formal commitment of that. There is no dollars that I'm aware of that would cover the 100%. So what staff are doing is basically leaving that statement in there, just in case there is a requirement for the city to provide some capital dollars for this installation, as it will be on municipal property and will be a municipal asset.
So I have a mover to receive. Can I have a seconder to receive this report? Councillor Joyce. All in favor? And that passes. Moving on. Item 12.1.10 is Councillor Perry. It's the Fenelon Falls Cemetery Board.
Thanks very much, Mayor. And in the spirit, making a motion here in the spirit of Councillor Smeaton's intervention earlier about having the information and the facts and time to make a confident decision moving forward. It was my understanding as ward councillor in Ward 3 until this week that the cemetery dissolution, the wrapping up, was perfunctory, and this was simply paperwork as transition had been going on the past year. In speaking with the board and with Director Shanks and Manager Johnson and the Mayor this past week, that's not necessarily the case. The board has been continuing to meet monthly and conducting business all year. There have also been some recent updates from the board with regard to information relayed in the report. For example, there was reference to compliance issues with the Bereavement Authority of Ontario and past concerns. My understanding from the board is that those concerns have been rescinded, and actually an apology was issued to the cemetery board. In terms of financial management, I've also received financial statements from the board, which show them in the black and operating just fine with finances. So really, again, despite some talk of a back and forth, there really hasn't been that year of substantive tradition or meetings of those kinds of things. So what I'd like to ask to put forward today, and what I'm moving, is that this decision simply be tabled 1 quarter to the end of Q1, so that I can be engaged, careful what you wish for, so that I can be engaged with the museum board, the cemetery board. This is a very community-minded board with very well-known community leaders in Fenelon Falls, and time would be taken to explore this new information, sort out if there have been complaints, what are the processes in place. Those meetings need to happen, And I just want to be in a much better place as Ward 3 councillor and as a colleague to able to provide confident information for a decision, and with benefit of the committee of the whole, which this hasn't had, unfortunately, today. Again, having done homework, Director Shanks and Manager Johnson have expressed support for the deferral for a quarter, and we could bring this back, as I said, at the end of the quarter, looking at things that have been in the works, and just using that time to see what information is there, confirm sources, and basically sort things out before decision time. Thank you. Again, just looking for a deferral.
Seconder. Councillor Warren. Director Shanks, did you wish to weigh in?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to council, and certainly Councillor Perry and I spoke yesterday and again today, so certainly recognize what he's wishing to do, and I've made a commitment to work with him over Q1 of 2024 to make sure we bring this to a resolution. This item has been on the books, you're well aware, since 2019, I believe, is the first time, 18, I apologize, when this first came up, so it's in the works. Yes, again, the report indicates, the BAO report, we were aware that's been rescinded as well. It's mentioned within the report. With all that being said, and it's recognized that this is a community group of volunteers, one of the rationales for why staff are moving this forward and why we will look to do this in Q1 of 2024 is because the city owns and operates 47 cemeteries. 46 of them fall within the portfolio of our cemeteries division within Parks and Recreation. This is the one that's solo. So it's a little bit, inefficient might be too strong of a word, but certainly there's two different avenues of doing things, and staff believe that the most efficient way forward would be bringing them all under one house, if you would use that term. And for that reason, I'm certainly committed to working with Councillor Perry to bringing this forward to a resolution at the end of Q1 of 2024.
Thank you. So the motion will be that the report CEM 2023-002, Fenelon Falls Cemetery Board dissolution be received, and that the motion to do this is move forward to end of the first quarter 2024. And there's a mover and seconder. All in favor? And that's passed.
Point of clarification, if I could, Mayor, that would include the committee of the whole process, correct? It would come back through the regular agenda process in council, correct? Yes.
Yeah. Through you, Mayor, Mr. Council, I will ensure that the future report comes forward through a committee of the whole meeting. Yes.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate council's indulgence for more time to sort through this issue, especially as a new councillor.
Next item is 12.1.12, which is the Access and Inclusion and Child Care Reserve update. Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. I am moving it as printed. If I get a seconder, it's just a question.
Deputy Mayor McDonald.
Okay, great, thank you. I just, this is a very big item for all of us sitting around this table. I can't tell you how often we're hearing from new residents, younger residents that have come to the area and, are struggling getting licensed childcare. And as we continue to grow, we're still going to have these wait lists continue to grow. So I felt it was a really well-written report, and, looking at how critical it is for us to support this access and inclusion and the importance of the Child Care Reserve. I just wanted to ask Manager Mitchell if she was able just to maybe express some of those challenges, just so we're all on the same page. So thank you.
Manager?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor. Yes, there are a number of pressures and issues that we're facing to support families who want to work in our community or go to school in our community. Our childcare programs are operating at the available capacity they have. They are additionally facing staffing concerns. So there are a number of different pieces that have to fall into place. And what this report is about is we want to make sure that we have everything ready to go when a program comes to us and says, look, we managed to get this space. We need this funds so that we can purchase this equipment and get going. We want to be ready and flexible to say yes, so that we are increasing our spaces and meeting the needs of our community. And we have to really be flexible in order to do that. There are a number of projects that we have as potential, so we're trying to prepare as much as we can. Just on the wall behind me, you can see a number of stickies there. Each group of 7 stickies represents one potential project. We're trying to, there's so much to keep track of. We're just trying to be ready and on our feet to go with that. So the pressures come from access to spaces, the ages that the childcare programs are able to provide, and also the communities that they're able to find space in to open up and expand new spaces. It also reflects on the pressures of our registered early childhood educators for us to be able to meet the need. Right now, just with the projects that we've committed to, we'd have a need for 51 additional registered early childhood educators. So there are a number of things that we're working on so that we will be able to increase, grow, support our children and families in our communities, and obviously our businesses as well.
Thank you, and we certainly appreciate all the work that your department is doing and acknowledging, the pressures and challenges. So, like I said, we're all sitting around the table. We have an influx of new people, and we want to be able to provide for those new people. So, thank you for the report.
Thank you. So you're moving as printed, and Councillor McDonald's seconder. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's passed. That's the end of the consent bylaws. Oh, yes, there is. Item 12.1, sorry, there's one more, 12.1.13, which is feasibility of transition of fleet to electric. Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move it as printed, to receive it. If I get a seconder, I'll speak to it.
Councillor Perry.
Thank you. It was really a great report, Rod. Very impressive. I learned a lot, and I know a lot about it. So thank you very much. It is indicative that we get the healthy environment plan up and going also at the same time. And I just wanted to, I had a conversation with the CAO about the Ontario grant of 75% dollars, and maybe he could just speak to that briefly to us and for the public. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. So the report touches on really 2 streams of sort of planning and mobilizing for the city. One is EV transition for our fleet, so our own fleet in its entirety. And secondly, it's accommodating or starting to look at charging stations or accommodating EVs from the public side and public sector. And so I'll talk to the one on the public sector side. Certainly the manager here is a much more, as you noted in the report, knowledgeable on the fleet strategy. So there is a grant right now that's out there. It expires or closes at the end of January next year. And it's essentially to offer 70% funding for EV charging stations that would accommodate public use. So separate and distinct from our fleet vehicles. So we are looking to mobilize and apply for that grant to secure a few charging stations at strategic locations that we're just reviewing now, essentially. The idea would be that they would be accessible to public for use. The way the grant is printed, it says 24/7, sort of access to that for the public. So again, we will be going through that application process. We'll report back to council once we know better what we're going to be actually asking for and some locations, and then it's anticipated that we would, assuming we're successful, we would have an announcement in the spring of 2024.
I have another question. So in the report, it says that the federal government has 50% grant dollars. Are we going to be applying for that also in 2024?
Excuse me, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, I would maybe direct that to CAO Taylor. Sorry, Ron.
Sorry, you caught me off guard a little bit. So I'm aware of the one grant program that I just spoke of. If there is additional grants, regardless, in either stream, I can tell you wholeheartedly that we will be pursuing them and aligning them with the objectives and the rollout and transition.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that I'm really pleased. It's been a long time to get a fulsome report like this, and thank you, Rod. It was, as I said earlier, it was a great report. I envision places like Kinmount that doesn't even have a gas station to have an EV charging station. It would be a big step up, and maybe some of our service centers, and possibly Cobeconk. Oh, there he is. You know, seeing we're doing all that work up in Kobe. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you for the report, and I look forward to things rolling out in 2024. Thanks.
Councillor
Just for the
Ashmore.
councillor's knowledge, you actually had one in Norland already.
Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you. Through you to Manager Porter. Just a question on the buses, on fleet. Just looking at some other cities that have gone to electric buses. I know the city of Edmonton, they bought 60 electric buses, and they had indicated that after 3 years, most of the city's electric buses weren't fit to be on the roads, and complicating the fact was that the manufacturer had gone into bankruptcy proceedings in the US. So do we have other companies that we're looking at that will give us that assurance that we'll have parts for these vehicles? And because, you know, you're talking a lot of money when we do buy electric buses, like they're big ticket items.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, that's exactly why we're kind of taking a wait-and-see approach to our fleet with the electric vehicles and electric transit. A lot of the other authorities have a significant amount of resources, so we're in essence learning from them, letting them take the initial steps, and seeing how it's going. So, with some of the challenges that we're seeing with their electric vehicles and their less electric bus fleet, we're looking at some different approaches. The industry's somewhat moving away from electric to some degree as well, where they're also investigating hydrogen and other sources of power. So we're investigating, keeping track of, and kind of seeing what the industry does, but we haven't taken a step forward yet with any electric buses.
And just one quick question, Measurement Canada, they're the ones that measure when you go get gasoline or diesel from you pay for the liter, per liter, it doesn't matter how long it takes, whether you have a high or medium or slow pump, you pay for that liter of fuel. With Measurement Canada, from what I read, depending on what the temperature is, if it's like minus 30, as opposed to plus 30, you'll be paying a higher premium when you charge at these charging stations. And if you go to the charging stations, do you have to use a card or credit card or a prepaid card? Like, how will this be under, will you know, be brought out to the public, like how we do this thing, how we can pay for this? Because it has a cost no matter what, whether it's an upfront cost or through the user pay sort of. How would we be doing it that way? If you had just a bit of an idea, it'd be great. Thanks.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to councillor. Yeah, I think the way it would go would be a two-prong approach. One would be for our own fleet, which again we would be responsible for the power and the usage, and then there would be a pay-for-use for the public as well. So there's this varying levels of chargers, so level 2 or level 3 charging, and based on the levels, there's typically a fee that's associated with it.
Thanks.
Councillor Smeaton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, just 2 quick questions that came to mind. The 2 charging station areas that we have in Lindsay, one being Scotiabank. If we want to know how they're doing, is that a question we can ask as a councillor, or is it because it's theirs, it's their data and so on? I was just curious because sometimes I wonder if it's underused. And the other question, so there's question number 1 for someone is, can I contact? And the other was the 5 stations that are at the OPP. I've always been confused by that. Should I just call them? Are those public stations, Manager Porter? Do you know the 5? There's 5 charging stations at the OPP, but they don't have electric vehicles, I don't think. So I was wondering how that. These are questions that have been asked of me. So now's probably as good a time as any.
So through you, the mayor, to the councillor, the one at Scotiabank is a private charger. I don't know if it's actually in use anymore. I think it's redundant and been taken out of service. The OPP ones, I don't know. I would assume that they would be to the public because, again, their fleet, I don't believe, is electrified. So, yeah, it's something that we could look into as well because we do have a relationship with their fleet.
You may want to ask that question at Police Services Board.
I could.
Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you. And that just segues into another question. When we're talking about moving forward with this grant, are we going to get a follow-up from staff that determines the need, demand, and what the appropriate areas are going to be, where we're going to install these, just that we need that background information, and reaching out to some of our private enterprises, like our car dealerships in the area, right? How much, they're being used and what they're seeing as well. I think those conversations need to happen.
Was that a question? Thank you. Councillor Warren, do you want to sum up?
I believe Councillor Perry has a question before I do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question, and thanks very much for this long-awaited and specific report. It's great to see what milestones are being forecast. I'm just curious, and I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Perhaps they could get back to us, but just wondering where we are currently, all things being considered, all things being equal at this time, of meeting those targets for the 2020-30 dates as provided in the charts in the report. How's it looking?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor. So to this point, we haven't implemented any electric vehicles to this point. With regards to the charging, because it's kind of chicken and egg, what comes first. So we've discussed the implementation of the charging stations first in a strategic fashion and where it makes most sense. A working committee's been put together to develop that. Once that plan is in place, then we would look at electrifying our fleet from there.
And that could then be a catalyst for catch-up, for lack of a better term?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, that's correct, yes.
And you're currently taking some interim measures with regards to batteries, correct, as you mentioned?
Yes, we've implemented, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, yes, we've implemented a few greening technologies. So we're in the process of testing hydrogen, so hydrogen fuel cells. We have 5 implemented on various classes of vehicles, and we're monitoring that. And we've also included 20 more units in our 2024 capital budget, which was approved. So again, we're going to further implement that where we've taken internal combustion engines and we've supplemented it with hydrogen fuel cells. So to improve or reduce emissions as well as improve fuel economy on the units.
Thanks very much. That's very helpful.
Councillor Warren, do you want to sum up?
Sure. That was going to be, I was going to make sure that you got to say that because that's a really good news story is to have the hydrogen fuel cells for some of our fleet and buses going forward. So that's a step. And through Environmental Action Bob Cajun, we got a EV charger, and it's going to be just about March. It'll be a full year, and we get 4 to 5 charges a day. And people they've actually taken pictures of a Bigley's bag on their EV while they're, walking around town and shopping. So. It just, for economic development, let alone 40% of greenhouse gas emissions in City of Kawartha Lakes are from transportation. So this is a huge step forward, and I'm very pleased. Thank you very much.
All in favor? And that's passed. Now move on to petitions. We have none. Other new business? None. And we'll do bylaws. Councillor Warren, you have bylaws, and we'll do the bylaws. You'll have to extract 1516.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Joyce, that the bylaws shown in 15.1 of the agenda, namely items 15.1.1 to including 15.1.2, be read first, second, third time, pass numbered, sign, and the corporate seal attached, save and accept 15.1.6.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's passed. 15.1.6 is now that the bylaw to amend bylaw 2018-234, being the bylaw to establish and require payment of fees for information, services, activities, and use of the city property in the city of Kawartha Lakes be read a first, second time. That the bylaw to amend bylaw 2018-234, being the bylaw to establish and require payment of fees for information, services, activities, and use of the city property in the city of Kawartha Lakes be amended to include the following changes: that the dock fee for docks within Thurstonia remain at the 2023 rate of $150 for 2024. All in favor? That passes. Then that the bylaw to amend bylaw 2018-234, being the bylaw to establish and require payment of fees for information, services, activities, and use of the city property in the city of Kawartha Lakes as amended, be read a third time and final time, passed, numbered, signed, and the corporate seal attached. Mover and seconder, Councillor Warren, Councillor Perry, all in favor? And that's passed. We now move to item 16, which is notice of motion. Councillor Ashmore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a notice of motion. If I could read it out. If I could, please. Okay. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smeaton, that the notice of motion from Councillor Ashmore regarding snow plowing in Thurstonia, Pleasant Point / Kennedy Bay, Sturgeon Point, and Sturgeon North Shore be received, and that staff be instructed to bring forward a confidential closed session report to the regular council meeting of January 30th, 2024, inclusive of costs detailing the decision to bring the snowplow routes formerly contracted to Fair Trucking in-house to be completed by Public Works.
Questions, comments? Councillor Smeaton, you want to speak to it?
I do have to speak to it. This is embarrassing, but so be it. When Councillor Ashmore just handed me the sheet of paper, I'm being honest, we often second each other for moving into closed, ending the agenda, so on and so forth. So quite literally, he passed me a piece of paper as we were sitting there, and I signed it as I always do. So careful what you wish for. I signed it off. I did not even read that it was an actual notice of motion. So I would like to read what I'm signing, if that's okay. And if it's too late, it's too late. It goes to a vote, and I learned my lesson.
Well, I think he just read the notice of motion. So all he's doing is asking for some information on a contract to come forward in closed session next.
And I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure you knew that I thought I was signing something different.
Okay. Councillor Perry?
Just if I could, a procedural question perhaps for the clerk. What is the difference between bringing a memo and providing notice of motion?
So the notice of motion is to give council the notice that this issue is going to be brought forward to a regular council meeting or the next regular council meeting.
So is there a vote required? I mean, notice taken?
No. It's just a notice.
Thank you. Duly noted.
So you actually don't need a seconder because it's just a notice of motion, so staff will bring it forward to the next council meeting. Moving on. Can I have an adoption of the closed session agenda? Councillor Smeaton, Councillor Richardson. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest in closed session items? Seeing none. At this point of the meeting, City Council will go into closed session to consider the items under Section 17.3 of the agenda. As per our procedural bylaw requirements, I'm asking all electronic participants in our meeting today to confirm to me by raising their hands that they are in a private room where no other persons can overhear the deliberations and the internet connection is secure and not publicly accessible. Thank you. Can I get a mover and seconder that council convene into closed session at 3:10 pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act in order to consider matters identified in section 17.3 of the regular council meeting agenda of Tuesday, December 12, 2023, namely items 17.3.1 to and including 17.3.6. Mover, Councillor Perry, Councillor Ashmore. All in favor? And that's passed. At this point, the meeting broadcast will now end for members of the public watching on Cogeco, your TV cable. The live stream of the meeting on YouTube and the rebroadcast on Cable and Rogers Ignite will now be temporarily paused for members of the public. When closed session is complete, the live stream and the rebroadcast of the meeting will resume to address the remaining open session items on the agenda. All remaining staff, with the exception of the CAO, City Clerk, and City Solicitor, are now instructed to leave the electronic meeting and council chambers at this time. We'll take 10 minutes. Okay, we're back at it. We're out of closed. Madam Clerk, do we have any matters from closed session?
Matters from closed session. The confidential closed session minutes for a regular council meeting of October 24th were approved as amended. The city solicitor presented information to council pertaining to an appeal to the Ontario Tribunal of the decision of the city by the owners of part lots 7 and 8, concession 6, Gray Road, the Binnies. The city solicitor presented information to council for its consideration pertaining to an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal of the non-decision of the city on an application by Kings Bay Golf Club Limited to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw affecting 27 Stub Road and associated application for a plan of subdivision to support a proposed redevelopment of a former golf course into 46 lots for single detached dwellings. Council provided instruction to the city solicitor. The city solicitor provided information to council respecting the appeals to the City of Kawartha Lakes Official Plan 2012, amendments 14, Bob Cajun Secondary Plan, and 17, Omimi Secondary Plan, thereto, and related site-specific appeals to Cumhold Investments Limited, being Ontario Land Tribunal case numbers OLT-22-00291 and OLT-22-00-2079, OLT 22-00-2171 and OLT 22-00-2147. Council received an update on a capital project involving a paramedic facility, and council received an update on the city's strategic plan 2024-2027.
Thank you. I need a confirming bylaw. Councillor Ashmore, I believe you have that.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smeaton, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of a regular council meeting held Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 be read a first, second, and third time passed, numbered, signed, and the corporate seal attached.
All in favor? That's passed. Councillor Smeaton, you knew what you were signing there. Okay. Now I have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, where's Emmett?
Emmett and Councillor Smeaton, all in favor? Thank you. Everybody, if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and all that good stuff. Take care.
Merry Christmas.